If you like my dad's videos, please subscribe to QA Insights channel.
In this video, I'm going to show you a new tool which I stumbled upon last week for load testing. It's a brand new tool on the market. It is called Multiple. Multiple.dev. Just visit this site and sign up for a free account. So in this video, we're going to dive deep into what is Multiple and how you can get started with Multiple and how you can start the testing, analysis, and more. So before we start into a demo, first let us understand about the Multiple platform. So Multiple is a developer-centric load testing platform where you can test anything across your stack. So this is the one-liner about Multiple. And if you just scroll down, you can see the features where the advantages of having the performance testing in your lifecycle. And also it displays the stack, what it supports and what type of tests you can run, and the scenarios and some small animations, and you can see all the marketing taglines. So now let us go to docs and try to understand about the technical details about the Multiple. So Multiple, basically it's a managed infrastructure. You cannot bring your cloud or your own infrastructure to run the test. So that's one of the key points you have to note. And it is for developers. So it doesn't mean testers cannot use this tool. Basically, it is more developer friendly, just like K6. So K6, you write in JavaScript, and then the backend is Go, and you have the open source version, you have the commercial version. So all sort of thing. And similarly Locust. So Locust is purely open source where you write scripts in Python. And for JMeter also we have JMeter DSL, which is started picking up among developers and testers. So if you are a core tester and if you do not work in JavaScript, or you are not exposed to the NPM node ecosystem, then this tool, it takes some time to learn. But if you are a developer where you use JavaScript in your daily workflows and all your scripts in JavaScript, and you want to just port it for load testing purpose, then definitely you can check it out Multiple. But enterprise customers, if they want something like your own infrastructure or some additional features, then you might need to dive deep into the enterprise features of Multiple.dev. So this is from the individual perspective. I just did some test drive, and this is my thoughts on Multiple. Now let us quickly go through the quick start guide. So here, if you just click on the quick start guide, where you can learn how you can start your testing under 10 minutes. So whenever you sign up for an account and whenever you're done signing up, and by default, you get one test called lots of chat. So this is one of the, boilerplate where you can see what's going on in the script and how you can start the test and what it is doing, blah, blah, blah. So instead of going through this quick start guide, I don't want to, repeat the same thing. What we can do, let us start with our own simple scenario. So I'm not going to use Multiple. So let us just start with, Visual Studio Code, and we'll start writing some basic JavaScript using the NPM packages. Then we simply port the script into Multiple and let us run a test. Okay, now let us bring the terminal. And first step is we need to install the packages. So one of the packages for HTTP client prominently used is Axios. So I'm going to import install using the npm Axios. And then for the test data, we are going to use Faker. So Faker library where you can create some random data and then you can just feed it in your HTTP request. So now let us start with our simple boilerplate. So I'm going to import the Axios from Axios, and again I'm going to import just Faker from Faker module. Then let us create a new async main function, just a boilerplate, nothing fancy here, and let us call the main. And here let us print console.log just to start the testing whether everything is working fine or not, and save this and let us run this. So here it is displaying some message. It is stating that type module. Since it is a ES module, we need to add the type which is a module. It's not a common JS, so just let us stick to the ES, and you can see starting to generate test data, the log. Okay, now let us start sending some HTTP requests using Axios. So for that, let me clear my screen here. We don't want the console.log. So let us create Axios client, and let us create with the base URL, and we are going to hit the https json placeholder.ipcode.com. This is the base URL we are going to test, and then we are going to create some random ID using faker. So faker dot number dot int, say 200 or 300, whatever it is. And then first let us send a get request. So we're going to use get response. So we are going to use the to do ID. So whatever it is generating, some random number, we are going to get the to do details, and then we are going to print get response dot data. And similarly, we are going to send a post request. So again, post response, and here we are going to send, say, some random user ID. So for the random user ID, again faker dot number dot int, and then completed faker dot boolean. That's it. So this will do, and then again we are going to print post response, and similarly we are going to send a delete request, and again we are going to print get response.data. So now let us run this. So I think there is some issue. Let us quickly fix this. There's no issue. I just executed again. So as you see here, we are printing the console.log get response.data here, and then post response.data, and then delete response.data. So now let us measure the response time. So to do that, I'm going to create a start time, basically a timer, and then we're going to print the response time. So this will print the response time for get. And then similarly, I'm going to start with start time here for the post, and here console.log post.time. Similarly for delete. So now let us run again. So as you see here, get time is taking 118 milliseconds, and then post is taking 63, and delete is taking 38. So now what we are going to do, we are going to port this particular script from your editor to multiple. So let us go to multiple here, and let us log in. So once you click on login, it will display the list of tests. So here, as you see, the lots of chat. So this is the default boilerplate test. You get it. And I've been playing with this platform from past couple of days. So these are my tests. And in the left side, you can see the results, settings, docs, and help. So it is pretty self-explanatory, nothing fancy here. And the UI is pretty neat and solid. And at the bottom left corner, so here you can see the current plan. So current plan, which is free, where you get 50 maximum virtual users and 10 minutes of duration of your test, and with I think 200 virtual user hours. So right now I have used 8 something, and remaining I have 192. So now let us create a new test by clicking on the new test button here, and I'm going to just create some to do load test. Okay, and then you can write some optional description. So here the flow of this particular test creation starts from right and move towards left. So what I mean, so basically you will start with mentioning your npm dependencies, and then you move to mentioning the request statements. Then you define some environment variables like URL, username, password, and then you start with global.init. So global.init, if you come from load runner background, where you will have 3 phases of any virtual user. So init, I mean there are multiple phases, but the core thing where you see in the ID is init and the actual business and end. So similarly, global init, this is where your starting point of your script execution. So here this function will run only once per test at the beginning. So this is the purpose of global init, where you can initialize some test data, some variable. So whatever you want to initialize, just one per test, you can use the global init. Then you move to view init. So this section is for the virtual user. So this function will run once per VU. So if you have 50 virtual users, then it will run once per virtual user. So here again, database connections, client, tokens, JWT. So those sort of things you can just put it in the VU init phase or section. Then you have VU loop. So this is the function where it will keep on running till the duration of the test. So it keeps looping your business transactions for the test duration. Then once the test duration is done, cleaning up. So cleaning up again, this function will run once per VU after the VU loop is done. So this will kick off only VU loop is done. And last is a global cleanup, where it will run just once everything is done. After cleanup is done, then your test will be gracefully completed. So these are the phases of your test in multiple. Just like any typical tool, these are the phases you will focus on. Okay, now for our test, so first what we can do, let us start importing the dependencies. So here the dependencies will work with most of the npm packages, and the test will be executed in Node.js 16 version. So this is one of the things you need to note it down. So now let us go to the VS Code and go to your package.json and just copy the dependencies here and paste it here and enter comma, and again we need the faker also. So now you are good with your dependencies. So now let us go to the app.js. Then you need to mention the request statements. So here I'm going to import the ESStyle module, and if you hit save, this will throw the error. So only require is currently supported. So whenever you want to port your JavaScript, so make sure it is a common JS pattern. Otherwise, you need to convert this particular import style into require. So let us go to the editor, and here we can just const axios just to convert this. So here you need to make sure you are just importing the faker thing, and now let us cut this and paste it here. So now it should not throw any error. So now we are good with the require statements as well. And next is environment variables. So here you can just click on new, and then you can keep creating your list of environment variables in a key value pair, or you can just use the default environment variables. So here let us go with, say, base URL equals this particular JSON placeholder typicode or typicode.com and hit save. So now you can access this base URL anywhere in your script. So this is what we are going to do now. So now let us proceed with the global init. So global init, it supports injected data of 3 contexts. One is context.info and context.env and context.log. So if you want to access the values from your environment variables, so here to here, so you need to use context.env. Right. So now let us delete this particular line, we don't need, and here we are going to add, say, base URL equals ctx. So whenever you type, it will automatically display the IntelliSense kind of a autocomplete thing only for the multiple variables. So ctx.env.base URL. So this is the base URL which will be fetched from your environment variables, and then it will store in the base URL. So this data you can access it anywhere in your script. Okay, next we are going to init section. So init section, make sure you are planning to script only the thing you need one per VU. So in this case, our one per view is the HTTP client, Axios client. So let us go to our script and let us copy this particular line and paste it here. So again, we need to replace this particular value. So here ctx.env.base URL. So basically we don't need here because we already defined it. So we can directly fetch it from here. And then once you are done with your constant of Axios client, we have to return it. So how do you return so that it can be accessible in the subsequent call is using the return keyword. So return, just like any JavaScript, just return and just return the Axios client. Okay. So now what we have done, we created the client, HTTP client, using the Axios npm package, and we configured the base URL, and then we are returning the Axios client. So next is view loop. So what we are going to test our actual business functionality. So here again, we are going to read the Axios client using the Axios client here. So just, it can be any variable name. So I just want to keep it uniform. So here we are going to read from the ctx dot view init data. So view init data, which is nothing but this section. So what are you returning? So this is what we are going to read here. Okay. So now this as the Axios client. So again, we are going to just copy everything, whatever we scripted as a business transaction, right? So I'm just going to paste it here. So this will have your actual business transactions. So instead of console.log, I'm going to use ctx. So how do I know? Because it already has the context here. So instead of console.log, replace with ctx. Okay, so now cleanup. So I don't have any cleanup, and I don't have any global cleanup. So let me hit save. So once your scripting is done, there is a way where you can debug. So as you have guessed, so here you need to click on debug run. So just click on debug run. So I think it may fail. I don't know. Let us see and let us fix the issue. So luckily, no issues. And if you just see, yes, there is an issue. Sorry about that. So here Axios client.get is not a function. So let us fix this. So let us go to Axios client. So here, this is the line it is failing. Okay, so I got the issue. So here we need to add the parenthesis, so that we are just importing this particular thing, right? So we need to make sure we're just importing Axios client. So let me hit save and debug run. Okay, so now as you see here, there are logs displaying here. Get time taken is 302, and then object post delete object. So object is basically, it's a JSON thing we need to navigate. So let us quickly fix that. So wherever you see the ctx.log, so we can add id. So here also we can add id or title, and here also we can add some id. And let me hit save and run again. So this time you will see the actual data. Okay, now as you see here 6, and as you see is undefined because it's deleted, so there is no ID and so on. So this is how you write your script and you will debug. So now here we are actually measuring our response time, right? So now if I start the test, okay, let me quickly start the test here, and let me test it with say 2 virtual users, and for about 1 minute, and the ramp up duration is say 5 seconds and 10 seconds. So minimum view loop duration. So this is the minimum amount of time between the test loop iteration. Think of like a think time. And environment variables default, and I'm going to click on start test. So this will take your script, and then it will run it in the managed infrastructure, and then it will display the graph and the table. But it will be missing the important context. So basically what we are doing is we wrote a script, we are measuring the response time, and then we are printing it in the console.log or context.log, whatever it is, and we are starting the test. So that is for the developer UI. But when it comes to when you run the test, so you see the graph, but you will not see your key performance transactions. Basically get call, post call, delete call, nothing will be displaying here. It just displays the VU loop. So basically the VU unit, and then elapsed time, and then a number of virtual users, and the loop, and the average duration, as you see here. So this is what you will see by default if you are not measuring and you are not adding your metrics to multiple. So let me stop the test, and let us go back to our test. So here, after measuring your response time, you need to add it to your metric so that it can display the real-time data in your graph. So where do I get the particular context? So it is coming from context.metric. So here, so I'm going to add just below, after not here actually. So once you are done with your measuring, you just immediately log those details into metric. So just put ctx.metric. So it is asking name, value, and the units. So metric, so name is say get to do, and comma metric. So metric is the same thing what you use to measure. So just copy this and paste it here, comma milliseconds. So what this will do, it will put the metric to your graph in real-time charts. Okay, so now let me clear my screen here and save this. So here there is some error, so we need to just take care of this. So make sure you use the backtick so that it can measure the response time, and then just log the metric. So let me delete the context.log. We don't need this. And just copy the same thing for the post response. So here we are going to make post, and similarly delete, and hit save. So now start the test and say 2 virtual users, 1 minute, 5 seconds, and 5 seconds, and start the test. Okay, now the test has been initiated, and at the bottom now you can see your delete to do, get to do, and post to do, and it will display your current response time, average, P95, P99, and the average request per second, and the total. And also at the top you can see your real-time graph. The x-axis is the time, and y-axis is the RPS here, and the z-axis is the response time in milliseconds. So it's pretty neat, and it's very straightforward. No fancy IDE or UI. Just reuse your JavaScript and port it to multiple.dev, and you'll be good to go to start your load testing. And it supports a lot of stack, and you can leverage the existing solid npm packages right into your multiple.dev without any prerequisites. So it's very easy to get started, and please try, and definitely you will like it. And once the test is done, there is a button called export data at the top right here, as you see, and let me click on export data, and it will download the data into your zip file. And if you go to settings, you can see the company usage. You can add your users and all sort of typical features you will see in the settings. And that's about it. And if you want to run the test again, if you go to tests and click on the run button, it will kick off the run again. And you can just play around with the multiple.dev. It is very self-explanatory, easy to get started. So only thing is you need to be aware of Node ecosystem and JavaScript, and how to port your script to multiple.dev, and rest of the thing it will be good. And let us talk about the features which is missing. integrations. So I don't see any integrations, say for example notifications, alerts, email. I don't see anything, at least for the free plan. I'm not sure whether it will be there in the enterprise plan. I'm not sure. So that is one thing. And this is for the APIs only. If you are testing APIs, yeah, it is good. It is apt for those kind of ecosystem. But if you want to run, say, UI based performance or heavy application, say for example Siebel or banking applications, financial applications where you have a lot of correlations, then it may take time to create those kind of scripts. So the initial effort you'll have to put, it will be more. And other than that, you cannot bring your own infrastructure. I want to run it from my infrastructure. You cannot do that. Or I want to say Dockerized, bring my own container. I don't know whether it is in roadmap. I'm not sure. So those are the things, it is missing. And again, Kubernetes, I don't know, it's possible or not, I don't know. So those are things still, question mark. But if you want to run your test, simple manner, I have JavaScript, I want to run it. Yes, definitely you can check it out. And definitely you can try multiple.dev. So pricing, let me just quickly check the pricing part. So I did not really focus on the, pricing. Let us go to, pricing here. So free, 200 virtual users, free each month. So 50 virtual users max, 30 minutes duration of test. But in my setting it says 10 minutes. So I don't know which works fine. And unlimited users. And professional plan, again, monthly starts with $200 for 2000 virtual users. And if you keep increasing, it will increase your, monthly bill. And annually, again, you need to contact them for the discount pricing. And then enterprise, again, they have a static IP on-prem deployment. So this on-prem is only for, enterprise customers. And reports, PDF, and implementation support from multiple team. Yeah, it's pretty a neat tool, and definitely try it out and let me know if you have any issues, any questions, and happy to help you out. Thank you. Have a great day.
If you like my dad's videos, please subscribe to QA Insights channel.